Thank you, Erica. Thank you. Welcome, everyone, tonight. Erica has done such a wonderful job here. She and Anna getting this all organized. Everything went like clockwork, and I appreciate it very much. What we're going to do now is introduce each of our candidates. I'll follow that by giving you the rules about what we're going to do here this evening and the a format so you can follow along, and we will show you the timekeepers over there and what they're going to be doing. Let's start out with our first challenger, Frankie Santos Fritz, right up here. Community organizer, local government policy analyst. He moved to this area in 2013, has been active in Maryland politics since 2017. Frankie was raised by paternal grandparents, a teaching assistant, and a United States postal worker in a union household. Fritz is the first-generation college student with a bachelor's degree in history and a minor in sustainability from George Washington University. So you made history. You made history. If elected, Fritz would be Greenbelt's first council member of Asian descent. Nice to have you here this evening. Our next candidate, incumbent Emmett Jordan, first elected in 2009 and is Greenbelt's first African-American council member and first African-American mayor. He wrote that he has promoted values of unity, cooperation, and sustainability in city life. He said that he's emphasized local economic sustainability, improved city infrastructure, and environmental initiatives. And definitely this, he helped the city remain resilient and adaptable through economic challenges, especially during the pandemic. And many of you know him through the Greenbelt Labor Day Festival and the Tour de Greenbelt. He's a great cyclist and leads all of us around Greenbelt each year. Our next candidate is an incumbent, Amy Niesel. She was appointed to the council in January 2024. Amy is over there at the end of the table. And we're reading these bios. These were provided by the candidates for publishing in the News Review. These have been edited. Amy says she enjoys meeting fellow officials, learning about the challenges facing the city, listening to residents' concerns and stories, and hopes to serve her neighbors and strengthen her community. She says she has supported tenants facing displacement, which we know is a huge problem, championed fair housing protections, and helped advance all resident voting rights. She views her role as one of building trust and creating meaningful opportunities for participation in city decisions. Our next candidate is a challenger, Kevin Lockhart. Kevin, he goes by Coach K. Coach K, where is Coach K? There he is. Father, mentor, coach, 18-year Greenbelt resident, balances being a single father with a deep commitment to giving back to the community. He's a National Guard veteran and has spent 15 years working with youth, including 10 years coaching Greenbelt Boys and Girls Clubs, mentoring youth at Spring Hill Lake Recreation Center, and hopes to get the rec center to be a more vital part of the community. Candidate number 5, incumbent Danielle McKinney, says she's dedicated to helping people and communities grow. She was elected in 2021, excuse me. She championed communication, collaboration, and opportunities for residents to shape the city's future. She helped allocate emergency rental assistance for laid-off residents, sought grants to support food distribution, and advocated Beltway Plaza redevelopment. She worked to strengthen council and advisory board processes, and she wants to ensure that resident input drives outcomes. Interesting sentence. Our next candidate, challenger, candidate number 6, Bill Orleans, wrote that he attended his first council meeting way back in 2004. He first ran for city council in 2011 and describes himself as a city council monitor. Candidate number 7, incumbent Jenny Pompey, elected in 2023, wrote that she has championed policies rooted in equity, inclusion, and safety. She was instrumental in advancing all resident voting and ensuring that Greenbelt police cannot be used for civil immigration enforcement. And she was responsible for authoring the council's letter and resolution reaffirming Greenbelt's commitment to diversity equity, and inclusion. She is a 2024 graduate of the Greenbelt Citizens Police Academy. She's also prioritized public safety while protecting the rights of all residents. Candidate number 8 is an incumbent, Silky Pope. She started her service here in Greenbelt on the PSAC, Public Safety Advisory Committee. That was before her 2009 election to council. She wrote that when she was the chair of PSAC, she enhanced the city's safety by advocating for security cameras and emergency call boxes in the city. She serves now as a council liaison to PSAC and the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, saying her unwavering commitment to public safety and quality of life initiatives continues to make a positive impact on where we live. Candidate number 9, incumbent, Rodney Roberts. He wrote of his efforts to implement community policing to preserve Greenbelt woodlands. He was against the maglev train, and he is working to preserve the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center from industrial development. And he prides himself on never missing a council meeting in the past 32 years. 34. Thank you for the correction there. Incumbent Kristen Weaver is our 10th candidate here. She has served as mayor pro tem since her 2021 election. She wrote that that was during the pandemic. She saw the importance of bringing together the strengths of Greenbelt in the ways that city leadership can guide and support efforts larger than individuals alone, such as programs funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. First representative from Greenbelt Station on the City Council. Our candidates for this evening. Tonight, we're going to have 3 rounds of questions, after which candidates will have 90 seconds for closing remarks. Our candidates are going to be in 3 groups of incumbents and 1 challenger. There will be 6 questions, and candidates, I believe you have those questions in front of you there. In the first 2 rounds, we'll ask 1 question to each group, each triad or quadrad. In the 3rd round, all 10 candidates will choose a question that they didn't already answer. So as the questions are being asked, the 2 that you get, if there's one that you wanted to address that you didn't in that last round, that will be your opportunity. Each candidate will get 2 questions then and a question of their choice. In each round, we will vary the groups and the order in which candidates answer. Erica is sitting here with a container with the names. We'll be drawing names for each of the triads to let you know which candidate is going to be the first one to answer the particular question we're going to ask you. Again, 2 minutes to answer each question. After the 3rd round, each candidate will have 90 seconds for closing remarks. This may include any rebuttals in this 90 seconds. Our timekeepers on the other side over there will display signs. Ladies, can you show those signs? We're going to get one for 30 seconds, and then 15 seconds, and then that's the buzzer. That's the X. And we will be turning your microphone off if you decide to go on a little too long, so be prepared for that. As they were seated, we gave each candidate a seat with the 6 questions, so they did not see these questions before tonight. All right. If everyone's ready, Erica, I think we're ready to start. In round 1, our first group of 3 will include Mr. Jordan, Ms. Niesel, and Frankie Fritz. All right, the first to answer the question will be Frankie, and then Amy, Ms. Niesel, and the 3rd person answering this first question will be Emmett Jordan. First question, for incumbents. There's a separate version for incumbents versus non-incumbents here. For incumbents, question 1, what was the most important action you accomplished in your last term, and why was it the most important? For non-incumbents, what was the most important action council accomplished in its last term, and why was it the most important? Frankie, you're up.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. This is so important that we actually have these forums. And I wanted to say how refreshing it is to live in Greenbelt, where we have independent media, where we don't have to worry about censorship, where we actually have people covering these issues. And I want to say that the most important action that the council accomplished, I'm going to say two, I'm going to cheat. And I'm going to say non-citizen voting, and they're interconnected, and codifying the general orders on immigration, right? Because acting quickly, responding to the changing federal environment was essential, and our council rose to the occasion. In partnership with community advocates, including myself, who advocated for that legislation. Even of the people who were eligible to vote in our last election in 2023, only about 1 in 6 voted in that election. That's about 2,500 people, and that's compared to 10,000 people who voted in our last presidential election. We have to do better as a city. The challenges that we face as a city require that everyone be at the table, and that they are not afraid that they are going to be arrested or profiled by federal authorities when they're at the table. When you come to the city of Greenbelt, we welcome your voice, and we will not cooperate with the fascist regime that is trying to deport you or your family under a thin pretext, like our neighbor, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. So I am so proud that to live in a city that advances that. I'm proud that our city residents have pushed those as priorities. Those were big lifts, and it was over a lot of antipathy in our community over potential federal response, but we held together as a community. And I know as a community, we are better off for it because we prioritize protecting our immigrant brothers, sisters, and siblings, and invited them to come vote in our elections. So please come vote. We did a voter registration event in Franklin Park, and we got 9 non-resident voters to register to vote. We want to continue to invite people to participate in our civic process. So thank you so much. And
thank you, Frankie. Thank you very much. All right, we move now to Ms. Niesel. Same question for you, the variation because you're an incumbent.
Thank you.
Watch that microphone.
Yeah, I won't touch the mic again. I will agree with Mr. Fritz that the most important thing that I feel I was part of on council during this past term was the all-resident voting. I truly feel that we can only be a community where we can only be a council that supports the community if we have information from all of the residents. And so that type of engagement is incredibly important. I also will be completely transparent that I spent a lot of the past 2 years just learning what my role should be. I have done some really, really exciting things, like called up management at Franklin Park and threatened them to not evict someone, and that person didn't get evicted that day. I still don't know if I should have done that or not, but I did. I enjoy using my voice, and I enjoy connecting people, and that is truly what I feel my role on council here is. I have a voice at a very important table, and I want to hear everyone so that I can forward those beliefs.
Thank you very much, Ms. Niesel. All right, Mr. Jordan, same question for you.
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's great to be here at the firehouse and to see all of you here to just have this dialogue. So the most important action that I accomplished, it's hard to say that any member of council exclusively accomplished any one feat. We all work together, even though there's a lot of back and forth. But Greenbelt's not an island, and our external relations are very, very important. So the ability to work with our state, county, and federal partners is crucial. So one thing that happened over the past 2 years is we got a hold of the armory deed, and one of the our progress with that was stalled. It was completely stalled out at one point, but I was able to talk with General Brickhead, who was the head of the Maryland National Guard. I told her about the situation, and she was able to actually move things forward so that the deed was transferred to HUD and then to us. So these external relationships are really important. It takes a while to really cultivate this trust and to be able to dialogue with folks on all the different levels. And council is doing a good job of getting up to speed. But experience counts, and these external relationships are very important.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. We're going to move on now to question number 2. And the 4 candidates answering will be Ms. McKinney, Ms. Pompey, Ms. Pope, and Coach Lockhart. Let me pull out the right order here. Ms. Pompey will be going first. Then Ms. McKinney. Third person answering question 2 will be Coach Lockhart. And the fourth person will be Ms. Pope. Question number 2. What do you think the city should do with the Armory site, and how would you pay for it?
Thank
Ms.
you so
Pompey,
much.
you're first.
Thank you so much for this question, and thank you to the News Review and Gate for hosting this forum, and to all of the residents who are here both in person and streaming it, and participating in the democratic process. I appreciate that. So, the Armory, having the Armory site, this is really a once in a generation opportunity for this city. There's not going to be another time when we're going to get a hold of a property of this size. It's almost 9 acres, So thank you. So I think it's really important that we think hard about what we're going to do with it. What I would like to see us do with it is use the current footprint and develop that into low-income housing. We have a real dearth of that here in Greenbelt, and this is something that residents talk about a lot. And this is a great way that we could make our city more affordable. We could do that just purely on the paved footprint that we have, and still preserve all of the green space, which I think is very important, and provide connections to the city center through that space. And also we would have to work with our state and county partners to strengthen the connections across Greenbelt roads so they could have better access to the Beltway Plaza Mall, which could also be a boon to that organization, that development. To pay for it, of course, this is, the city has limited funds, but one thing I would like to see us do is partner with possibly a nonprofit housing development corporation. This is what they do. This is their specialty, is financing affordable housing. And we also could possibly partner with the University of Maryland School of Architecture to actually develop this property, because this is really a gateway property for our city. So whatever is there should be beautiful, and should really welcome people here into our community and say, hi, this is Greenbelt.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pompey. Let's move on to Ms. McKinney now. Same question about the Armory site.
Sure, and thank you everybody for coming today. I think this really does show the spirit of Greenbelt, and I know that the Armory site has been something that has been long awaited by this community. And so, we can all talk about what we would want to see happen in the Armory, but at the end of the day, we want to hear from the community. And you all have been here, and there are a variety of needs that could go into that. And I think the planners that we had come in that did the study set up 3 very interesting concepts, and none of them were perfect. There were pieces of them that might suit certain members of the community and not others. But I think looking at those different schemes, but also then bringing it back to the community so that they can actually have more input into what would work based on their lifestyle at this point. When you're talking about how we're going to pay for it and what we could see in it, there are pieces that we could have, as Jenny was saying, residential housing is very important, but we also have to figure out how to pay for it. So being able to have some commercial spaces that maybe small businesses could actually start up and be an incubator in that space and have live work housing is also an interesting concept, so that people could come together and we could actually have some funding coming in that way. I think the partnerships with our county partners, as well as our county and our state partners, are going to be important, as well as partnerships with the businesses that we have here. But it's an enormous opportunity. We just really need to think creatively. And that starts by getting the input directly from our community and making sure that we have as much coming in and looking at what is going to serve our community in the future.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney. Coach Lockhart, your thoughts on the Armory?
Coach K.
Coach K.
Lockhart. Yes, thank you. Okay. I was a National Guardsman at the Armory for 3 years. So it's like a sacred home to me, Greenbelt. I knew every inch and cranny of that place. I don't know what it looks like now, but I think that the best thing that we could do with the Armory, I think it should be something that we could do where our children right now are in dire need of something. And I don't know, some kind of school, cooking, or teaching them how to go out and get jobs, some kind of building where they can go there and learn the next stage in life. Because right now, there is not that we see what's happening. So I think we need to kind of gear that towards something that we could do towards our children, because they're our future. Most of us have already been. I'm 70 years old. I hope I live to be 20, 30 more years. But we got to look towards the future for the kids. So whatever we put there, and I'm not saying a gym, or I'm saying something educational, something, because not every kid goes to college. And maybe we could have a little program where they can, if they don't go to college, that they can get whatever they need, plumbing, just even learning how to dress, how to get up in the morning and make themselves look presentable. We need some programs like that. And maybe that armory could be part of where the stepping stone to something like that. How do we pay for it? How we pay for anything else? Grants, some things.
Thank you, Coach. Ms. Pope.
Yes,
Say
thank
something,
you.
please, about the Armory.
Understood. Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that came here, and thank you to the people who are probably watching us right now. The Greenbelt Armory, I'm prepared. I figured it's going to be one of the questions at least. That was my best guess. So, but the Greenbelt Armory is now finally city property after many years of trying to acquire this piece of property. And we've completed a space study that presented 3 possible concepts for how this large space could be used, possible usage. To be honest, I wasn't really convinced about any single idea that I saw. I mean, not that they were bad, it was all good. I mean, they're concept plans, but I think what I like to do, maybe take a little bit of here, a little bit of there, and maybe put it together. And, I think we could do something really great with it. It does have really good potential, to really create something that truly fits our community needs. And that's what we all need to talk about. For years, we talked about the idea of having a fire station on that property because it's close to major roads and neighborhoods. But with the current challenges in the Prince George's County Fire Department and the issues that we had and the departure of all our career firefighters, I'm not sure if that's a realistic option at this time. Not off the table, but I'm not sure how realistic it is right now. The path forward will take some time, both in planning and in financing. But I believe that this is an exciting opportunity for our city. I would like to see more discussion and public input on these concepts and to hear additional ideas from our residents and community partners. The Armory sits right at the gateway to our historic center, and that makes it a valuable space for thoughtful economic development. However this project takes shape, I'm grateful to be a part of the process, and I look forward to working together to make the best use of this property, of this unique property for Greenbelt's future.
Thank you, Ms. Pope. We move on to our third question and our third group, which will include Mr. Roberts, Ms. Weaver, and Mr. Orleans. Answering the next question first will be Mr. Orleans. Secondly will be Mr. Roberts, and then Ms. Weaver. What is question number 3? Federal support for the environment, as we know, is worsening. What actions would you take at the municipal level to help protect the environment? Mr. Orleans.
Well, one, we can all bemoan the fact that the federal support for environment is worsening. There are organizations, both government and non-government, who are advancing concerns about the changing climate. We should certainly ally ourselves with them. Within Greenbelt, we have an example where we have throughout the city many private carters coming in on a daily basis to cart away refuse, recycling, and probably not yet compost, but maybe in some cases compost as well. The city ought to analyze how the city could, with its public works department, effectively take over these private sector corridors who serve with contracts, various homeowners associations, as well as all the commercial establishments in town. As Public Works is moving towards an electric refuse truck currently, in the future, it can look to utilizing more environmentally friendly equipment, and routes could be constructed so that there wouldn't be cross patterns of traffic. Routes could be constructed so that there's one truck doing a specific amount of work throughout that sector, and we would not have so many private sector corridors trafficking the city streets.
Thank you, Mr. Orleans. Mr. Roberts, please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it. I like to think big and act big. And what I want to do is I want to start the process of seeking national park status for Bark, NASA, Patuxent Wildlife, and all the other undeveloped wooded forested areas in that area. And altogether, it totals a little over 20,000 acres, which is the largest remaining green space in the mid-Atlantic region. So it contains not just one habitat, but many, many habitats for all kinds of animals, plants, you name it. It's a very important area for the whole East Coast, really, and for our future, because we can't live on development alone. We have to have natural areas. And I just can't imagine Greenbelt losing Bark and all these other natural areas, because that's what Greenbelt is all about. It's about nature and allowing kids access to nature. That was a major part of my growing up in Greenbelt, was the ability to enjoy nature. So that's what I want to do. It's a big cause, but it's something that we can do if we put our minds to it. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of people. We can work with groups such as the National Park Trust, which is the group that helped me find the law firm that helped us fight the maglev trade. They love the parks, and they have been working to protect our parks. And if you look at what's going on in the federal government, the one thing that they're not trying to destroy is our national parks. So that's what we need to do. We need to make these areas national park.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. And Ms. Weaver, please.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. And I'm so glad I got this question. I have served as the liaison for the Greenbelt Advisory Committee for Environmental Sustainability since I got on council, and it's one of my passion areas. There are so many things that we're already doing. I think one of the things that we're working on is reducing trash with the Save As You Throw initiative to try to incentivize people to generate less trash because they will pay less for their trash, sort of a utility model for trash. Since I've been on council, I've been an advocate for electrification of our fleet. Mr. Orleans mentioned the exciting new electric trash truck, but also we have, I think, ordered our first police cruiser vehicle. We've installed electric vehicle chargers at the municipal building, or new ones that are coming at the municipal building, and other things. There's just so many things. There's some grants available from the state Maryland Energy Administration that we can look at more solar panels and electrification of buildings. And then I think the other thing, so there's things that we can do on city property and supporting environmental practices by our citizens. I think there's also a lot to be said for advocacy for the state stepping in where the federal government is perhaps not doing what we would like them to do. We did help advocate for the bottle bill for a different way of looking at recycling. That didn't pass last year, but that could come up again. And I think looking at some local ways for doing air quality monitoring. I've been serving on the Metro Washington Air Quality Committee since I got on council. And I know also in my day job with some of the science background that I have, there are ways to monitor local air quality more locally if we're not getting those measurements from the federal government. I think the main point is that it seems like a big task to tackle all of these environmental issues, but it's individual actions that we each can take that we can then magnify as a city and then toward the sort of the collective broader good of environmental sustainability. And I think we've got a good start in Greenbelt, and we have so much more we can do.
Thank you, Ms. Weaver. And that concludes the first round. You've all had your first question. Your second question coming up before you get to choose one in round 3. The first group in round 2 that will get question number 4 will be Ms. Niesel, Mr. Orleans, and Ms. McKinney. Let's draw and find out who's going to go first in that group, that triad here. Ms. McKinney will go first, then Mr. Orleans, and then Ms. Niesel. Question number 4. What actions would you propose to increase the non-residential tax base? And how would you keep Greenbelt affordable? Ms. McKinney.
One of the things that we're going to have to look at this year is, we're going to have some very tight and interesting conversations over the budget. We really have to sort of tighten our bootstraps there, look at places where we may not be getting the income and the revenue coming in. Even if you look at the FY26 budget, we were waiting on tax abatements to come in that still haven't come in. So where can we look at and how can we partner with the state to try to figure out whether or not we're actually collecting on those? We need to be creative in thinking about other places, other businesses, other commercial districts where we may not be taking in some of that revenue as well. One of the things that I had brought up during the budget process was we hadn't looked at taxes that we were collecting from our local hotels and amusement taxes in a long time. And so if you look at the number of rooms that you have in each of the hotels in this area, and you compare it to other districts and other municipalities and whether or not they're actually collecting more revenue from those hotel rooms, we actually are far below that. So that's where I'm saying looking at places and really examining the budget to see if we have really looked at places that we can draw additional revenue that we have not looked at in previous years. I'd also say that we need to look at additional partnerships, maybe looking at, the Beltway Plaza development has been stalled. And that is part of us really working with them to try to really build that up so that we can, again, bring in revenue from that source as well. So there has to be a strong partnership, and we need to move that forward much more quickly than it has.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney. Mr. Orleans.
Thank you. I can recall when there was a question before council of whether to endorse the development in what's now called Greenbelt Station. There was the suggestion that rather than endorsing a residential development, the city should look to build or have built a modern industrial park where, were that to have been done, the city would have an industrial tax base in Greenbelt now that would be contributing to the commercial tax base and relief for residences. I don't mind suggesting that all of us who own property, our own residences, must be prepared to pay increased taxes on our property if that's necessary. But more to the point, all of the commercial space in Greenbelt is not taxed sufficiently now. And Greenbelt Council should not be in any way endorsing any request for abatement from any commercial property owner without first challenging that abatement before the state assessments and taxation department. Montgomery County, my friend Mr. Fritz lived and worked in Montgomery County for many years. Montgomery County for many years under the leadership of Leggett and then Elrich had a dedicated county employee, not that this was all that they were doing, but looking daily at tax abatement requests and prepare challenges to them. The city of Greenbelt, rather than simply bemoan the fact that we suffer from tax abatements that commercial properties win, we should be resisting them, we should be challenging them, we should be fighting them. And one last thought, as any abatement is paid, it's the residents out of your residential taxes that are paying or reimbursing the commercial property owners if they're successful in achieving an abatement.
Thank you, Mr. Orleans. Ms. Niesel, please.
Thank you. We're really uniquely suited in Greenbelt. We have a great economic development department. And up until COVID, things were going really, really great. COVID, as everyone knows, we have a lot of high rises around here, a lot of businesses that were using it as office space, and all of that has dried up. We've been able to manage pretty well with ARPA funds, and that is now dried up. And we are really, really facing some hard times, and we are going to need to bring in more businesses so that we can prevent having to raise tax rates on our residents. I think that we can do this by finding new and creative ways to encourage small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses right here in Greenbelt. See if we can repurpose some of those office spaces into spaces that more people are looking for these days. If you're looking for an art space, are there low-cost ways that we can encourage developers to transition some of their spaces so that it's more appealing to people who are renting those spaces? I would also like to see the city do small startup or incubator grants for small businesses that will be doing business here in the city of Greenbelt. That's going to keep our growth really, really mission driven, and it's going to give jobs to residents as well. And I also have to bring in keeping it affordable. We had an amazing presentation last night on rent stabilization. And there are so many factors that go into creating a dynamic in which developers want to be a partner with Greenbelt, and we are protecting our renters and our businesses. And I feel really, really happy after last night's presentation that we have wonderful frameworks from other municipalities that we can use to try and set the best precedent we can moving forward.
Thank you, Ms. Niesel. We're ready to move on to our next quartet. That includes Mr. Jordan, Ms. Pompey, Ms. Weaver, and Mr. Fritz for question number 5. Question that is much on our minds here in Greenbelt as of recent events. Are there specific actions the city can take to deter violent crime? Let's see who's going first. Ms. Weaver will be first, then Ms. Pompey, then Mr. Fritz, and then Mr. Jordan. Ms. Weaver, please.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I know that our police already does well is the community policing model, and I think we need more of that. I always appreciate the events that the police do, being out in the community and knowing the people that are in the community so that they're recognized and they're known. I think we need more of that. One of the things I'm very proud of since I've been on council is supporting the crisis intervention team, so that when you have incidents out in the community, you're not treating everything the same. You have somebody with mental health resources, the skill to deal with those things out in the community. I think the big thing, a lot of the crime challenges we have in the city have to do with young people. And so we need to find more ways to reach those kids who are at risk, more after school activities, partnering with the schools, advocating at the county and state level for more funding for youth resources, because these kids are falling through the cracks. And I think that is so tragic about some of the incidents we had in last weekend of the young man who was killed. He fell through the cracks. I mean, he was known, he'd been involved, and we just didn't find a way to keep him out of trouble and keep the other kids out of trouble. And so I think trying to figure out how to be out in the community, finding more resources. I mean, I think that's really what it comes down to. And that's not just the police, that's also counseling services, that's all sorts of things, that's getting more engagement in terms of, we have wonderful people in the neighborhoods that know the kids and know the kids who need help. And I think, Coach K, who's here at the table, is one who knows who needs help. And we just need to connect all those resources, as well as making sure that we're advocating for the maximum amount of resources at the city, county, and state level.
Thank you, Ms. Weaver. Ms. Pompey, please.
Thank you so much. I just want to reference, as did Mayor Pro Tem Weaver, the incidents that occurred in Greenbelt over the weekend and how devastating they were to all of us. And I also just want to say, the Greenbelt Police have been taking a beating on social media over all of this, but I just want to say that we really have the best police force in Prince George's County. They work hard, they love our community, and they're very mission driven. And these crimes aren't happening because they're not there. They are there. They just can't literally be in every single location at every time. But they are very dedicated to their work. They are very involved in the community. I think the community policing model that we have right now is exemplary. Um, I think that there's a lot that we can do to try and deter crime. We can require apartment buildings to have locks, to have locked buildings so that people can't freely come and go. We can increase lighting in areas where there's not enough. We can, our apartment complexes are supposed to have a certain number of cameras by county law to deter crime. We can make sure that those cameras are going in as they should at the right time. And I think, as my colleague said, one really important thing that we need to do is advocate at the state level for more funding for our youth services bureaus, because one of the most important things that we can do is invest in social services so these kids and their families have a place to go, so they have resources that we need, so that they have food to eat, so they have resources to look for new jobs, so that they they aren't so alone in what they're doing. And it's our job as a council to make sure that they are not alone. And I hope that we will continue fighting for our communities and keeping them safe.
Thank you, Ms. Pompey. Frankie Fritz. Mr. Fritz, please.
First, I just want to address, I think, something that we're not saying specifically. We need to, first of all, acknowledge that there are racial disparities based on where you live in this city and where in Greenbelt you live and your access to safe neighborhoods. And that is a historical problem that we need to name if we're going to address it. I'm glad that we have a reparations commission and that we're having some of those conversations. But I just want to foreground that, if this had happened in center Greenbelt, I think there would have been helicopters flying over. You would have seen a much bigger response to how this occurred. I think that we need to people have said youth services, and that's absolutely important. So many times we don't offer social services until immense harm has already happened, right? So many times young people will report that they didn't talk to a social worker until they had already been in jail for a felony. They might have been arrested for a misdemeanor and no one reached out and there was no follow-up and resources given to the parents. And we also need to talk that this all happens in Franklin Park, where people are working longer hours to try and keep their family housed, that people are at risk of eviction, and that school learning outcomes, health outcomes, safety outcomes all decline when you don't have access to affordable, quality, safe, secure housing. All of these issues interlock and we need to address them together. And when violence does occur, we need to take a public health approach to it. We need to study it. We need to look at the sources of the violence and look at all the people in the immediate first and second order of that violence who was impacted, and something that the city of Baltimore has done. And they've seen a tremendous decrease in homicides. They've had a whole government trauma-informed care training, starting with their libraries and their school system and their firefighters. But we need to take a public health and trauma-based approach to violence, and we need to make sure that we are actually getting resources to the people who are struggling to keep themselves housed so that everyone can be safe in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. Mr. Jordan, please.
Wow, those are really, really good responses, and the three of you have covered a lot of the ground. Everybody's concerned about crime. And crime, the lines that divide Greenbelt from our surrounding communities, from the county, from the state, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Now, some people say that accountability is a big issue. I know the state's attorney, Ms. Jackson, has stated that she is big on accountability. But the crime rates in Greenbelt, some of them are going down, some of the violent crimes and the carjackings. But when we have things like what happened last weekend with a 14-year-old being killed in our streets, it's just unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. We can't tolerate these things. So I think the guns have something to do with the problems that we're having, and we have to find a way to actually get them out of the hands of people. We need to find a way to reach young people at an earlier age to get a handle on this and kind of interrupt the behavior. So Greenbelt, we've been grappling with these challenges for quite some time. And some of the programs that we have are helpful. Greenbelt Cares, the anger management programs. But it's not enough. Part of it comes down to families, part of it comes down to the schools. But if a young person isn't going to school and they are not participating in the programs that we have, then there's not a lot of ways we can really impact that. So yeah, gun violence, crime, it's a problem. Accountability is one of the solutions, and I think we have to all work together to have closer knit communities. We have to be rooted in our neighborhoods and to know what our neighbors are doing, and we're families, so we're all in it together.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. We appreciate that. We come to the end of our second round here with question number 6. This question will go to Mr. Roberts, Ms. Pope, and Coach K. Let's find out who's answering first. That will be Ms. Pope, then Coach K, and then Mr. Roberts. Ms. Pope, please.
Thank you.
The question is, question number 6. With the loss of jobs in our community, what strategies would you propose for supporting our unemployed and underemployed residents? And how would you pay for these strategies?
Yes, unfortunately, we're having quite a few residents here who are looking at layoffs, and government shutdown just happened, and that puts people in very bad situations, especially if you are a young family and have children. That is a serious issue. Unfortunately, our ARPA funding has been all spent, and I don't think there's any big or large amount coming from the government to our city to assist us with this problem. So we have to find a way to help the people who are affected. How are we doing it? Good question. I would say we have to, as early as now, we have to talk about what kind of planning can we do? What kind of comprehensive plan can we put in effect and help these families or help the people who are underemployed or not employed anymore? In the past few years, we had quite a few job fairs, local job fairs up at Beltway Plaza and other places. I think some of those were very successful. We had our own city departments also there offering jobs if we have job openings. And I think well, every time it was a good turnout. I attended a few of those, and you never know what the end result is when somebody fills out these applications, but I had a good feeling and people were very excited about it for certain opportunities. Food distributions is very important. We have a monthly food giveaway in the city. We also do it over at Spring Hill Lake Elementary School where I work. I've been working at Spring Hill Lake Elementary School for about 15 years now, and was prior to that 10 years at Greenbelt Middle School. And we just had a food giveaway the other day, a distribution, and the lines are getting longer and longer every time we look. And actually this time we ran out of food. But yeah, I mean, we have to reach out to people, look at your neighbor, call your neighbor, and try to share with them the resources that the city, the county, and the state has as well, because I think we're all in the same boat, and we have to work together.
Thank you,
to
Ms.
make
Pope.
that happen.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to Coach K. Your thoughts, please.
Excuse me. The loss of jobs in the community, I think one of the things that we could do is like say complexes, like let's just give an example of Franklin Park. It has a bunch of residents that lost their job or whatever. You can give them some jobs. They could help clean up. I mean, there's plenty of work that is around that we could give to people that kind of subsidize, take off a little something on their rent or help them out with food. I have a food giveaway every Thursday that I do myself Coach K's food giveaway give to the community. Some of us that know places that might have food or that can give away, they bring it to Greenbelt. Inform me of it, and I'll give it out to the community. But I think what most we need to do is we have to figure out a way, people that aren't working, to just help them, just to give them, reach out, ask them what they need, because sometimes a lot of people won't even come forward and say that they need anything. So we have to kind of be more vigilant and you know, be more mind worthy of each other, and we have to just help each other out. We have to come together as one Greenbelt and help west, east, west, whatever. We have to help each other out. And I think with that, if we all look out for each other, and nobody will be without. Simple as that.
Thank you, Coach. Mr. Roberts, please.
Thank you. Well, this is not something just for the city to do or the city council. This is something for everyone in the audience to do. As Coach said, this is a time when you have to, I believe in the saying, pay it forward. Someone needs something, someone's car breaks down or something, that's something I can help them with. I can fix their car so they can go and look for a new job, or they can get up to the unemployment office or whatever it is. That's what we need to do. We all need to help our neighbors. That's what we have to do. It's not a government thing, because it's the federal government that's causing the problem. It's us as people that have to help each other. That's all it is. Because the city of Greenbelt can't provide unemployment or jobs for everyone. But anyone that needs, if you need something done in your yard, Coach K's right. There's plenty of people out there. Maybe they can do that job. So let's all pay it forward, because I know that everyone in here at some time has had someone help them out in some way, because we all have problems in life. So when that happens, you have to turn around and you have to give it back to someone else. And I've been doing that all my life, and I believe in it. And so that's what we have to do. We have to act as a society to help each other.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. That brings us to the end of round 2. And as we head toward round 3 here, remember, this is the opportunity for you to answer a question that you have not been asked yet that you want to address of the 6 that we've asked this evening. So we're going to go back to our threesome here. Ms. Weaver, Mr. Orleans, and Mr. Roberts. And we're going to start with Ms. Weaver, then Mr. Orleans, and then Mr. Roberts. The question of your choosing. Take a moment, and your time will only start after you've read the question.
Okay, well, I think I would like to answer question 1, which is the most important action that I accomplished or the council accomplished in the last term, and why that was the most important. I actually find it very difficult to pick the most important, because I think there are so many things we do that are so very important. But one thing that I think we did really well in the last 2 years, was sort of the allocation of our American Rescue Plan Act with funds with a lot of really creative projects. I mentioned the crisis intervention team that actually started maybe a little bit before the 2 years, but things like that, business grants, healthcare vouchers, childcare vouchers. We had this amazing pot of money from the federal government, and rather than just doing one big thing with it, we reached out to the community and got a great deal of feedback. We had many folks here in this room that I can see gave us excellent ideas for how to use that money. And I think that just brings out the idea of where is the strength of Greenbelt? It's in the skills, the expertise, the knowledge, the passion of all the people in our community. And I think the reason I think that was one of the most important things we did was because it was taking the individual efforts and the individual ideas and sort of channeling that into something bigger with the resources that we had, in that case from ARPA, but I think the same thing applies to all of our city programs and resources, that we have this amazing community, and how do we take the skills of the community and figure out the best way to apply those. And so I think there's other things that I think the Buddy Attic Master Plan, I think standing up the Reparations Commission, the all resident voting, there are all many little things, but I think the vision is together. What is the most important thing council does? We distill the feedback and the strengths of the community and channel that with the help of city staff always, but channel that into making our community a better and a greater place.
Thank you, Ms. Weaver. Mr. Orleans, the question you'd like to answer.
I'd like more time to respond to all the questions, including those that I've already spoken to, but I'll get to number 6 in a second. We have 3 more Tuesdays between now and the Tuesday of Election Day. I'd like to suggest that the Greenbelt News Review and Gate should partner for further in-person forums, giving us all the opportunity for us to talk more and listen more, and for more people to have an opportunity to ask questions themselves, maybe from the audience, and more opportunity for candidates to ask each other questions. I leave that to the folks at the News Review and Gate to consider. There are existing, and there have been in the past, but as a result of the last several months of the megalomaniac in chief in Washington, there are indigenous within Greenbelt mutual aid groups that have evolved. But they're limited in what they can do. I went to one of their meetings and I was silent, but my motivation was to suggest that actually the city should play a role in developing stronger mutual aid. For those federal employees, this wouldn't be me, although if I could reach a free meal, I'd do so. But for those federal employees who have lost their jobs through actions of the Trump administration, those individuals with their families could be invited in, say, to the gymnasium in the community center, or maybe this hall here, where there's a kitchen, and there could be a meal. And along with that meal, there would be an opportunity for local businesses that have opportunities for further employment to offer their services to the folks affected by the loss of their jobs, as well as state and county entities that might be able to provide assistance. I look forward to the answer to my question about the News Review and Gate holding further forum.
Thank you, Mr. Orleans. Mr. Roberts, please.
Can I ask a question first? Just
You may.
Is this the only opportunity we're going to have to answer another question? Or
Yes, no, you can. You're going to have closing remarks. We'll give you 90 seconds at the end there, but in terms of just choosing a question, this is the last opportunity.
I wanted to do number 3. I wanted to do number 2, but I'm going to do number 5.
Okay.
If that's my only opportunity.
Would you read the question again for us, please?
Yeah. Number 5, are there specific actions the city can take to deter violent crime?
Right.
Well, that's what our city was built to do. The people that built Greenbelt, planned Greenbelt, they set up a community where their ideal was to provide all kinds of constructive and fun activities for young people. When I grew up, I could walk down here, I could play sports, I could participate in arts programs, all these things that I could do and my friends could do. The kids over in Franklin Park, they're devoid of that. We have one little, rec center there. And we've been spending money. We've been spending open space funds after open space funds, over $13 million in the last 10 years. We need to build them a park where they can have constructive activities. You have to start young with kids. Once they get up to 16, 18 years old, it's too late. You got to have these activities for young people. The planners of our city knew that, and they did their best to make that happen. But we have failed in our responsibility to provide those same activities for the people that live over in West Greenbelt, for the kids that live in West Greenbelt. So I'm going to keep fighting for that as long as I'm here. We have to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. All right, we move next to Ms. Pope, Ms. Pompey, Coach K, and Ms. McKinney. Let's see who's going to go first here. And again, this is your option to answer any of the questions there, other than the ones you've already been given, of course. First will be Miss McKinney, then Coach K, then Miss Pope, and then Miss Pompey. All right, Miss McKinney, what question would you like to address?
Like to address number one.
All right.
So what was the most important action accomplished? And, I'm going to sort of echo one of the things that Ms. Niesel said. I think one of the important things that council has to do, regardless of if you are new on council or you've been on council for 30 plus years, you have to listen. And we came onto this council, a few of us, and we were new, and we needed to understand what the issues, what the challenges that the city was facing. And so one of the biggest accomplishments is just being able to listen and to connect with our community so that we could actually have informed discussion, make informed decisions. And so, I'm proud that we were able to do that, I think, as a collective body. And as me personally, I wanted to make sure that that was a main priority for me. In addition, I saw that coming onto the council, there have been things that have been going on for years in the same way. And so one of the things that I activated was a planning framework. And that was a way for us to really strategize and focus our energy and intention on those things that are most important to the community. So that when we look at the budget, when we look at what our city manager is putting forth, it is around a framework. It is around specific goals and actions that are going to best support the community. We also worked on, as Ms. Weaver said, we worked on ARPA, and we had a lot of ARPA funding. At the end of that, we had to figure out what was the best way to use that. So one of the things that I advocated for was to utilize some of that ARPA funding that was at the end for emergency assistance for people who had lost their jobs. And so we were able to allocate $30,000 to be able to do that. I also launched an initiative called Greenbelt Grows, which is really about focusing on food insecurity and helping people to grow the food so that they can make sure that we are able to feed them. So I'm hoping that I can continue to highlight the things that are happening in the community, putting it out on social media based on the things that I'm hearing. I think that's something that we haven't done a good job, and we can do that in the future.
Thank you very much, Ms. McKinney. Coach K, you're up.
I'm going to take question number 5.
Thank you.
Think that one of the things that we could do to deter crime, I think we all have to work together. It's not just one specific group. I think I have some you gotta excuse me, I'm a little emotional about this, especially after what happened. We need more foot patrol, not drive-by patrol. I think we need more foot patrol. This way we can engage with the community, the residents, the kids. Ride on the bikes, ride through the communities. I think also a PAL, Police Athletic League, where we have the police as the coaches and the refs and the kids. And I think because a lot of kids are scared of police and they don't trust them. And maybe this is a way that we could get to feel they can mentorship to the kids also. There's so many things that just that interaction right there can bring to a kid. We just got to do it together. We can't just do something today because an incident happened and then we leave it alone till the next incident. We have to keep pushing. We can't just, okay, this happened. We're gonna flood the city with cars and we're gonna walk, and then in a month from now, we back to the same way. And I'm telling you, it's gonna get worse. We have to do something and we gotta work together. Everybody. Like I said before, this is a group action. It's not West Greenbelt's problem. It's not East Greenbelt. It's not Old Green. It's Greenbelt's problem. And the sooner that we get that, the better off we be.
Thank you, Coach. Let's move on to Ms. Pope, please.
Yes, well, I'll take the public safety question as well. Thank you. I think it's no secret that I've been a big supporter of our public safety departments, our police departments, and our volunteer fire department here in Greenbelt. And crime remains a significant concern, especially after what happened last weekend. Two murders in a matter of 3 days, one weekend, and just recently, a few weeks back as well. So it is very concerning. I know that our officers serve with dedication and professionalism, but I think they're sometimes just outnumbered and they can't be everywhere. And I'm concerned our city is growing. We possibly have a new development coming in behind the Beltway Plaza. That means even more people in our city. And I truly believe that we need to look into enlarging our police department. Fully funding the police, we always fully fund the police department. I don't want you thinking that we're not. So we are, but we have to keep funding. We probably have to give more funds to the police department, hire more officers, because our city is growing. Our crime situations are growing. Crime is changing. It's not the same crime than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's changing. And we need to be prepared for that and keep our residents, all of our residents in each part of the city safe. I agree that we probably need more, but that was one of my things, bike patrols. I'd like to see officers on bicycles, because some of the places where they need to go, a bike is much more mobile than you can't just go in there with a car. Community policing is big. I think we have an officer over at Franklin Park, but we need more than one. This is an apartment complex of 2,800 apartments. It's huge. It's the biggest apartment complex on the East Coast almost. We need to make sure our police officer work under excellent leadership. We have to make sure our officers are equipped and get the needed attention and training, the best training that we can provide for them, because public safety should always be number one in all of our minds.
Thank you, Ms. Pope. Thank you. Ms. Pompey, your choice of questions.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go with question number 1, which is the most important action that I accomplished in my last term. And why was it important? So it's hard to pick one thing. I feel like I had a very successful term. I feel like this was a successful council in many ways. I'm very proud of the way I was able to build relationships with the freshman council class. I feel fortunate to have come in with these 2 ladies, and we worked together and we learned together a lot, and that was really important. But I think the thing I'm going to say I'm most proud of is enacting non-resident voting here in our city. This is something, I worked on it as a ballot initiative and was really thrilled and so proud of our community when it passed by 2/3 of the vote. It felt really good to be moving forward with legislation, that it felt like this was something that you wanted and we were able to deliver it to you. And I just think, allowing everybody who lives in a community and pays taxes in a community to vote is just absolutely vital. If you pay taxes here, you live here, you deserve to have a voice in who governs you. I think it enhances, community bonds and integration. It can incentivize full citizenship. It improves our policy because we're hearing from more residents who live here, and it helps us do a better job. And then I think the second thing I'll say that I'm really proud of is the codifying the police standing order to prevent them from participating in civil immigration enforcement. And I think that that's important because our police department has worked really hard to build relationships with the immigrant community so they feel safe coming forward if they're victims of crime or if they have witnessed a crime. It's really important that they know they can come to the police. And it's also really important that our police are not commandeered by the federal government to do a job that they frankly didn't apply for. They are community police officers, and the federal government should be responsible for enforcing federal laws.
Thank you, Ms. Pompey. Our last 3 candidates with their choice of questions, Ms. Niesel, Mr. Jordan, and Mr. Fritz. And going first will be Mr. Fritz, then Mr. Jordan, and then Miss Niesel. Mr. Fritz, please.
It's hard to pick. One of the questions are all very important. So I'm going to answer question 4, but I'm going to incorporate 2 and 6 into my answer. So
You still have 2 minutes.
I will still have 2 minutes to solve all the problems. So, but the question is, what actions would you propose to increase the non-residential tax base, and how would you keep Greenbelt affordable? And that has to tie in with what we do at the Armory site, right? Economic development in our city impacts our tax rate, and the loss of jobs, we need to supplement our economic income. We in Prince George's County and in Greenbelt, we're heavily dependent upon federal jobs. And so many people have some of the longest commutes in the country to get to those jobs because we don't have enough jobs in our own community. And I want to say that number 4, I think that one of the key anchors of our economic development strategy needs to be transportation. We need to enhance the ability of our neighbors to get around. Someone emailed my campaign saying that the changes to bus service mean them and their disabled partner have to wait 30 minutes for a bus to get around because they can't drive. Those people can contribute to our economy if we set them up for success. We have so many of my friends who live in Columbia Heights or Georgia Avenue on the Green Line. We are in one, you wouldn't know it from our town. It's a beautiful town. It's a lovely town. I live here for a reason. But we are in the center of one of the strongest metropolitan statistical areas between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. We have Amtrak in New Carrollton connected to us by bus. We have MARC train and WMATA. And if you want to go in to Washington, D.C. or come to Greenbelt, sometimes you are waiting 30 minutes for a bus if it shows up at all. So we have to think about how do we actually really invest deep in Greenbelt as a cultural powerhouse, and how do we get people from across the region here? And also, this is an equity issue as well, because a lot of households have to ditch one car in times like this. You know, if you can downsize from 2 cars to 1 car, that can save households hundreds of dollars that can help them stay in this community. So transportation justice has to be at the core of our economic development strategy so that we can actually get people from across the region coming to Greenbelt. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. Your choice of questions, Mr. Jordan.
Mr. Fritz, that's really, really good points. So I too want to talk about economic development. What actions would you propose to increase the residential, non-residential tax base, and how would you keep Greenbelt affordable? We're at a really, really challenging time in the city of Greenbelt. Before the pandemic, we were challenged with office vacancy. We have over in Greenway Center and the Trade Center area, our buildings there were filled at one point in time with NASA contractors and government contractors. Now, at this time, things have changed so much with the federal government's policies. We really have to do a lot to make sure that we are safe as a community. So the tax base, being able to actually expand it, to stabilize it, it's crucial at this time. So how do we do that? I think first we have to keep what we have and build on those strengths. Greenbelt has a diversified economy beyond federal contracting. And one of those strengths is in health services and medical. We've got this incredible concentration of healthcare providers, the medical mile on Hanover Parkway. So we need to build on that. We need to keep what we have. We need to work with the small businesses and continue to work with the businesses that we have and build on those strengths to proactively bring in new group practices, physicians, helping them to actually start medical practices in Greenbelt so they stay here. Got a lot of banks and financial institutions in Greenbelt because of our location. The location is fantastic. So I'm really proud of the fact since 2009, when I first started on council, we did not really have much of an economic development function in the city of Greenbelt. And I've advocated the entire time to actually build that up. And we now have 2 very astute members on staff. Our city council, our city manager is very, very shrewd with economic development. And I think those things are going to serve us well as we try and make our way through the current economic environment. And that's what will keep it affordable.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. And Ms. Niesel, please, your choice.
Thank you. I'll be answering question number 5. I want to start by saying something that we haven't put really firm words to. Over the weekend, while 40 of us were walking in the hug walk, a 14-year-old was murdered, not a half a mile away from where we were walking. What can we as a city, what specific actions can we as a city take to deter violent crime? I've heard it hundreds of times tonight, and we throw the word around so much, but it's community. I had an experience the other week. I was handing out information to encourage voter registration as high schoolers are coming across the bridge. And I was overwhelmed at how many of these children I had known since they were toddlers. I am invested in seeing each and every one of those children succeed and become the best versions of themselves because they're like my children. And I am so fortunate to be in a community where I do know them. And I realize that is very much just within practically the 4 walls of Center Greenbelt. We need to make sure that everyone in Greenbelt is able to experience that same sense of community that we hold so dear to our sense of pride. We can do this by increasing affordability. I had a wonderful conversation with Ms. Pompey the other day about ways that we could get people to stay in Greenbelt, because when you stay in Greenbelt, you are able to create a community. We can't create a community when we have people moving in and out of homes, being evicted, and having a constant turnover in a gigantic apartment complex. We really need to start with each other. And I want this to be a permission slip to each one of you to reach out however you can, because the city can only control so much. I can say I am incredibly proud of the things we do. Our crisis intervention team is fully funded, and I am so proud that we were able to do that. It started with ARPA, and we are choosing to continue it on our own dime. We also have a community police officer at Franklin Park, and that is one person in 2,800 units, and he can't do it all, so you can help.
Thank you, Ms. Niesel, and thank all of you. At this point now, we'll be pulling your names out at random. This is your opportunity to make closing remarks. You'll have 90 seconds for each of you. Our first candidate is Ms. Pompey.
Gosh, I had a feeling it was going to be me. We're living in unprecedented times. Things are hard, not only in Greenbelt, but in the country. And I think now is a time more than ever where we need leaders who are going to stand up and do what's right. And I think it's because it's easy to take a stand when you have nothing to lose, but it's much harder to take a stand when you do have things to lose. But I think that, for me, one thing that I hear a lot from residents is that I'm a doer. They're like, you get things done. And I think I want to continue doing that for this city. One example would just be just 2 weeks after the new administration was put into place and all of these, executive orders were coming down and just completely rattling all of us. At our second council meeting right after that, I moved to issue a letter from council reaffirming our community pledge. I directed CRAB to update the city's pledge. I directed staff to create an ordinance codifying the standing order not to aid with immigration enforcement activities. And I, moved to issue a statement reaffirming the city's commitment to our JEDI goals. And all of those things passed. And all of those, I think, have already happened, except for CRAB is still working on updating the pledge. So I'd like to continue working for you. We need leaders with moral courage, and I want to be that leader for Greenbelt. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pompey. Mr. Roberts, would you please go next?
I have a flyer here, and it points out a lot of the things that I've been able to accomplish over the past 34 years. 34 years, but I've done a lot of things, and I want you to do me a favor and just look at this. And I want you to know that I haven't been able to accomplish anything without the help of the people, and a lot of people that I've worked with over the years, whether it's members of the Committee to Save the Greenbelt, whether it's other members of the City Council, and the members of the public, because that's what it takes. It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, and that's what I do. When I want to do something, I stick to it, and I educate myself. If I don't know something, I'm going to find out how to do that, and whether it's talking to someone else, reading a book, or whatever I have to do. But I also have a list of the things that I want to do. And if you look at that, you're going to see that it jives with a lot of the things that we've talked about right here today. So I need your help to continue to get some of the things that I want to do in the future done, because I think if you read that list, you'll find out that they're important things and they're worth spending our time on. So I've spent a lot of time and I've given a lot to the city, and I have made a lot of accomplishments, and I want to continue to do that.
Thank you, Mr.
With your
Roberts.
help, I will keep on working for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Your 90-second closing remarks, Ms. Niesel, please.
So I've spent years in Greenbelt organizing, volunteering, and showing up because I believe in this community, and I know that strength comes from connection. When I first put my name in for council, it was because I trusted myself and I knew in my heart that I could continue to carry on Rick Gordon's Community First legacy, and I hope that I have done so. Now I am running on my own, and I look forward to serving Greenbelt for the next 2 years with the same compassion that I've shown for this term. We're facing real challenges: affordability, community safety, loss of jobs, et cetera, et cetera. There is so much that is up against us. And I believe in our ability to meet all of those challenges together. I want to help build a Greenbelt where families can stay, where young people feel safe and seen, where seniors can age in place in community, and where we can all grow stronger together. I hope to earn your vote.
Thank you, Ms. Niesel. Next up with closing remarks, Mr. Fritz, please.
Thank you, everyone. So to close, my name is Frankie Santos Fritz. I am a community organizer and a labor organizer with 12 years of experience. I'm a public employee. I'm a policy analyst on housing and public safety. And I'm a proud product of a union family, of a paraeducator, and a postal worker. I've organized workplaces and bargain contracts. So I will show up for our federal workers, and I will support the collective bargaining rights of our city employees on day one. I've also designed policies that are now law that capped rent increases and reduced severe code violations by 70% in a single year. I will fight as a Greenbelter and as a member of Greenbelt Homes Incorporated to advance the founding ideals that we share of quality, affordable housing as a human right. I will organize to make Greenbelt a cultural and economic powerhouse that is well connected by bike, trail, transit, and other public infrastructure. And we need to make sure that that city that we build together is ever more welcoming for all of our neighbors, including our LGBTQ plus neighbors and our immigrant neighbors who are terrified right now. We need to say that we stand with you in this critical moment. I humbly ask for one of your 7 votes by November 4th, but more importantly, please stay involved on November 5th and after. Our city will rise or fall if we embrace only rise and fall if we embrace our core spirit of cooperation forged out of the crisis in the Great Depression. Win or lose, whether I finish 1st or 10th, I know that we can only get through this political crisis together. Greenbelt was founded as a model city, and I know that when we get organized together, we can once again be a model for Prince George's County, Maryland, and the country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Fritz. Closing remarks from the gentleman to your left. Mr. Orleans, please.
I certainly will agree with those who suggest that we all should be about increasing the turnout in our municipal elections this year and every year. I disagree, however, with the suggestion that your vote is your voice. I think everybody should vote, and then everybody should come to the city council meeting and ask for it, if they're motivated to do so, ask for recognition from the chair. Your voice is your voice, and we all have to use our voice more. Most of us will have remembered hearing at one point in our life the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. We're in Greenbelt, we're not even casually attentive. We don't know what they're doing. We never go to the meetings, maybe once in a while we're watching it on TV, but we don't really know what they're doing. If you don't know what they're doing, you can't really make a very sound vote, which I want you to do when you go to vote in 3 weeks or before then if you're doing that. We all need to be more attentive to what council is doing. Just a couple of examples. How many of us know why 2 city managers ago, Nicole Ard was fired? We don't know. Some of these people know, but the rest of us don't know. Was it for a valid reason? Was she thought to be engaging in nefarious activity? That's a possibility. Was council maybe thinking about engaging in nefarious activity and the city manager objected? She was fired for that reason. We don't know. I don't know what's true or not because we don't know. Personnel is not a personal decision. City's personnel, most especially the role of city manager, is something that we should be attentive to.
Thank you, Mr. New Orleans. We appreciate that. Mr. Jordan, please.
Right. Seriously, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about Greenbelt's path forward. My approach on council is guided by practical leadership and a deep respect and understanding for the values that connect our city. This is a large city, and we don't have the same values. And I think one of the things that I've been good at is actually listening and respecting other people's points of view. I think that's really, really important. Over the past 15 years, I've put the principles together of helping some of the things that we as a council have accomplished. We've helped to block the disruptive project of the maglev train. We did steer the pandemic recovery with intentional investments in our residents and local businesses. And I'm working to build the city's capacity to weather uncertain times and emerge stronger and more resilient. We did make it through COVID, and we're really going through some difficult times right now. We have to bond together. So now more than ever, Greenbelt must act as one community. The recent federal cutbacks threaten our stability and impact countless families. So we've got to mobilize together. We've got to expand job training, support small businesses, and deliver emergency resources as needed. We have to find ways to keep people in their homes, and I'll continue trying to make affordability and neighborhood quality my top priorities. If reelected, I'll keep listening, responding, and working across every neighborhood, from co-ops to condos, single-family homes to apartment communities. Let's move forward with resolve and unity and ensure that Greenbelt remains a resilient, welcoming, and fair city.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Thank you very much. Your concluding remarks, Coach K.
As usual, my main thing is the kids, children. And I just feel that if my main goal is they're our future, and we can't just leave them. So what I propose and what I would like to do is just keep working with them. They trust me, they care, I've worked with over 200 kids in Greenbelt, at least, coached them, mentored to them. I have a relationship with them that is, to me, sometimes unbelievable. So, I get tired of saying hi to the kids sometimes. Well, I mean, for real, I do. But my point is, I'm stuck on the kids, man. What has happened this weekend has devastated me a great deal. Y'all have no idea. And my main focus right now is on them and anything that I can do. And that we as Greenbelt residents, I mean, I've been here 18 years. It's the longest I've been, besides in New York. I love it here, and I want to be a part of what's going on and be a solution, help a solution to the problems that we have. So I'm the guy.
Thank you, Coach. Ms. Weaver, please, your closing remarks.
Hello, thank you everybody for being here this evening. So I've been in Greenbelt about 10 years now, and I think one of the things that really drew me, we've heard a lot about this, the community, the cooperative ethos. Where I grew up in Colorado, I knew a lot of my neighbors. We worked together, we shared things, and that was one of the things that I felt like was coming home when I moved to Greenbelt, that I actually started to know my neighbors. I mean, we've got such a spirit of volunteerism. We've got the News Review, we've got Gate, as we see tonight, but there's the New Dale Cafe, however many dozens of community groups. All of this is amazing. And I think one of the things when I moved here into the new neighborhood of Greenbelt Station, trying to develop some of that sense of community that other parts of Greenbelt already had. And I think that's something that I want to continue, that I feel like I try to build on council. I think ultimately the role of city council is to set policy and balance the priorities after listening to feedback from residents, from staff, and from experts. And I think that's the role that we need to have. I think, we have a time of economic uncertainty. We have to support our residents in the face of these challenges. Environmental sustainability, equity, fair practices, all of these things. But I think the reason to reelect me for city council, I think I'm organized, I'm detail oriented, I'm analytical, I'm passionate, I'm really eager to collaborate with my colleagues and build together the better Greenbelt. Mr. Fritz was talking about the model community, the experiment, and I think Greenbelt has such an opportunity to lead the way by being the social experiment that it always should have been and should continue to be, I guess, is what I want to say.
Thank you, Ms. Weaver. Ms. McKinney, the floor is yours for 90 seconds.
Thank you. And I wanted to start by saying thank you. You all showed up. This shows the spirit of the community, and honestly was the reason why I ran in the first place. I wanted to feel connected to the community, and I wanted to empower others, maybe people who look like me, who have a shared experience that didn't know how they could be connected in this community. And so that was important for me. And if you choose to elect me again, my goal is to continue to inform people in the community about what is going on, how our municipality is supporting them. I am a teacher by training, so it is important to continue to educate people on the importance of municipal government, but also the things that are going on that are impacting their lives. We also want to make sure that we are connecting people in a way that goes beyond just calling them up and connecting with the community. We are a very diverse community, and we have to be imaginative and creative about how to connect people. So it has been my honor to serve you and to serve this community. I find my goal is to be a facilitator, and I hope to continue to facilitate the conversations that we are having as a council and be a productive member on this council and make sure Greenbelt is what we want it to be in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. McKinney. Ms. Pope, you get the last word.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if I keep up with all of that now. But thank you. So Greenbelt has been my home for 27 years, as I mentioned before. I think that's the longest place that I lived at one point in one stretch. So also, it reminds me a lot of my home back in Europe, because I grew up in Europe, a small town, just about same size, with lots of greenery and lots of small stores and neighbors knowing neighbors and working together and being able to get involved in your community. That was always very important. That was important to all of my family. And once I came to Greenbelt and lived in Franklin Park or Spring Hill Lake back then, I got immediately involved. And of course, in public safety, bigger. And that has stuck with me. But I was grateful to have the opportunities that the residents and the community has given me to be able to be involved and to show my ability to maybe lead or get the neighborhood improvement team going, or what it may be. That was my start a long time ago. Then I was active in my schools. I worked in middle school, Greenbelt Middle School, and now in elementary school, Spring Hill Lake Elementary School. I have children of the children I taught back then coming through the doors and know the families and be connected. And I am very well connected with not just with Franklin Park families, but also throughout. And it's not just all these big things that we talked about. Yes, all these big topics are very important. It affects everybody. But the things that is most precious to me is people call me with issues or problems, and I'm able to help them because I'm in this position. So I hope to be able to serve you for another term. I kindly ask you for one of your 7 votes. I'm number 4 on the ballot, so vote on the 4th, number 4.
Thank you.
Didn't make it like that, but thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Pope, and thank all of you. Can we have a nice round of applause for all of our candidates? And give yourselves a round of applause for being so attentive and for being here tonight. We appreciate that.